Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Hanson, and I am the founder of GRASP Charleston chapter. That stands for Grief Recovery After a Substance Passing. The purpose of GRASP is to help family members and close friends, anyone that is having a hard time going through the grief process after losing someone to an overdose or to substance use disorder. This type of grief is so different than any other grief. Through regular grief, you have 7 steps that you randomly go through, whether it be anxiety, depression, fear, those are just a few of them. But on top of that, with an overdose death, the family and friends have to go through guilt and blame, the shame from stigma. They don't feel comfortable talking to anyone. They've kept the addiction of their loved one hidden for however long they had it because they were too ashamed to talk about it. So over the years, this adds a tremendous weight onto the shoulders of the family and the friends who are closest to this individual or who have helped them or take care of them. For this reason, this support group was founded. It is strictly peer-to-peer. There are no counselors involved. It began years ago in California by a family who lost their son. And now there are support group meetings nationwide. We actually have 4 here in West Virginia. And I'm going to share my screen so that I can bring up the map that shows you. So for those that are curious, this is the GRASP logo. So if you go to www.grasp.org, you'll see this logo, so you'll be familiar with it. And there are all kinds of resources. If you happen to live closer to Ohio or a border state, and maybe there's one close to you in a different state, then you can find it there. The list is here for the groups. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see it. And then I have the map so you can see the area in West Virginia where they are. But the 4 groups, of course, one in Charleston, one in Huntington, one in Glendale, and Morgantown. So you see here listed the emails and the phone number contact information for all of the founders. And then at the bottom, the internet address for GRASP. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and you can always go back to that link and find it yourself on the internet through grasphelp.org. Now, some of the things I'd like to talk about that keep people from finding the support and the help they need is the shame. From going through this for years and seeing the chaos of the disease and how it tears families apart, how it destroys the person that you love. You have all of that trauma in your mind, and it's very hard for you to get past all of that. And then you deal with the death of that individual, and you feel like, well, now they've died, all hope is gone. But that's not true. That's not true. There are thousands of people that are in your same shoes. And myself, for the first 3 years after Greg died, I would not go to a grocery store. It triggered too many emotions, too many memories, of his favorite foods or his favorite drinks or, different dishes that I made that he just absolutely loved. Lasagna, he just absolutely loved so many things that I cooked. And it was such a trigger. It was so depressing. I didn't even go. So I went through a drive-through every day, or I went to Walgreens and got nuts or whatever for the first 3 years. But, having this support group has helped me be able to deal better with my grief, to be able to move past it and learn how to live with it. There's no point in telling someone that you're going to move on. You're going to get over this. When you lose someone as close to you as a child or a brother from a death of an overdose, you just have to learn how to live your life differently. And with GRASP, you can learn how to live your life differently. You can learn how to remember those fond memories and, help to retrain your brain, reframe your brain by remembering memories that, are good memories, are funny memories, are the memories that involve you and family and your individual. And it helps to, the more memories that you remember of those, the less that you remember of the bad. And that is what helps you through this grief process. There are a number of people in GRASP. There are thousands of people that have joined the Facebook GRASP group. And every day you see the people saying the same things, and you can relate. A normal bereavement counseling support group can't give you that familiarity like GRASP does. And a lot of times you don't want to go outside. You don't want to go around people. But we want you to come with us. We want you to join us. We want to help you. We want to help each other go through this process. There are people that they'll get up, even I've done it. You'll get up, you'll get ready, you'll have your purse on your shoulder, your keys in your hand, you might even go get in your car. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't do this, I can't go out, I can't go talk to anybody about this. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear about my child or my brother or my sister. But we do. And if you just push yourself and come to this first meeting, I'm telling you, it lifts some of the weight off your shoulders right off the bat, and it will help you. After my son Greg died, I was so forlorn because he was my only child. But his sisters and I found the GRASP group in Huntington. And we went to a few of the meetings. It became a little too hard because it was so far away and trying to schedule everyone's work schedule around it. But that's why I started the GRASP group in Charleston. And because so many people have lost their loved ones in Charleston. We were able to share our feelings. We were able to share and get the grief off of our shoulders, the immediate acute grief off of our shoulders, and share it with other people who were able to understand. And like I said, that is what GRASP is all about. So now I'm going to talk to you about my son. This is my son, Greg. He was 26 when he passed. He was found at JCPenney's in the Town Center Mall in 2016. He suffered from addiction for 12 years after a four-wheeler accident with his dad, and they were at their camp. And he had a very long recovery, which involved a long period of time taking opiates. And that's how he became addicted. But Greg wasn't all about his addiction. He wasn't all about his overdose. He was a very strong individual. He had such a good wit, and he never met a stranger. He could make friends with anyone. He could talk to anyone, and he was so charismatic. He would make you feel like you had been friends for years. And he was such a hard worker. He really was. I mean, he would work daylight to dark if he had to. He loved doing things for his family. He would pressure wash, he would mow the grass, he would paint, he would do whatever that family needed him to do. He really loved helping family. The other things about Greg was he loved to fish. He loved to hunt. He was an avid outdoorsman. He loved history. He would love to go to Lewisburg and just walk through town. He'd love to go to other old towns and just explore. It was almost as if he was an old soul in a way from the time he was young. Those are the memories that I think about now. And it has helped me so much. It really has. So that I can see Greg for who he was before his addiction. So please come and join us. Let us help you, and you can help us. We help each other through this journey, and we learn how to live with our grief. We learn how to move on to a happier place, and we learn how to remember our loved ones without guilt and without shame. We learn how to talk openly about their addiction. And at points, some people even learn how to help others that are in recovery today. It helps them to move on. It helps them to move past their trauma. It helps them to move past their grief to help other people. So with that, I'm going to pass this off to the next GRASP member. We have a few here today, and they're going to talk to you about their children or their grandchildren. So the next up is John, and he is going to talk about his daughter, Elizabeth. Thank you very much for watching.
My daughter, Elizabeth Michelle Knight, overdosed on March 18, 2018. Elizabeth was a strong Irish woman with a powerful, powerful personality. She made a big entrance, and she loved the spotlight. She loved drama because it pulled the spotlight to her. She had red hair, and it fit her. You knew where you stood with Elizabeth because she wore emotions on her sleeve, on her face, everywhere. She let them out. Her drug use started in her late teens, really. The first big warning we had was when I got an anonymous phone call. She was probably 19. She had moved out for a brief period of time. She hadn't been gone very long. And I got a call that I needed to go get my daughter quick out of this house, and they gave me an address. It was an anonymous person. Drove out there and found the house, and you could tell that this was an abandoned house. And when I walked in, of course, it was unlocked, and paint was peeling from the walls, borrowed or stolen or abandoned couches, furniture. I couldn't believe my daughter lived there. It was unfathomable to me that my daughter was there. Not that I'm wealthy or special or anything, but we're middle income. We have enough for our children. We got her out, and she stayed home, and she cleaned up, and started going to work and getting her life back together again, and moved out again with a boyfriend. And it just was another 12-year battle. The morning she OD'd, she had been clean for 2 years. She had got visitation unsupervised. She could have them in our house or in her mother's house. Unsupervised, just with us. She'd done it all on her own. She had gone to court. She had represented herself. She had filled out the papers herself. It was just all done by her. I was so proud of her, and so was the judge. The judge just was so pleased with her, and she stood up against someone who didn't want this to happen, and she persevered. She won. We were so excited. Things looked so well. She gained weight. She was healthy again. We were excited, probably too excited, and after 2 years, we probably were too confident. So was she. We had the twins that weekend, like I said, and we were going to, we had errands to run on Sunday morning, mother-in-law things to do, those kind of things. It was about 9:30, and Elizabeth was going to watch the kids and take care of them while we were gone, but she was sleeping, as she would no matter what. No difference there. So I hollered up the stairs to have her get out of bed. Go on, Elizabeth. she didn't answer, and she certainly wasn't getting out of bed. But that wasn't anything new. You know, she never got out of bed when I first called her. So up the stairs I went. My wife told me that I was getting my phone out of my pocket as I was going up the steps. I don't remember. As I turned the corner to walk down the hall, I had the feeling, I knew this wasn't happening. I pushed the door open and I saw her, and I knew she was gone. When Elizabeth OD'd, I lost my breath. She was just 33 years of age and 9 days away from her 34th birthday. The depth of the pain was unmanageable, unimaginable. I didn't know how I was going to survive. I didn't know how I was going to get through it. And I started seeking and looking and reading and just Google searching, trying to find answers. Therapy certainly was going to help, but I couldn't find. I mean, it's an hour a week, or hour every 2 weeks, or whatever. And then I found GRASP in a Google search, and I went to Facebook and found it there, and applied to be admitted to the group. And they accepted me after telling my story, and I started reading and just reading other people's stories, other people's comments, and saw that some people would survive, some people would get through this, people were making it, and there was a way through. There was a way to get through. I also saw how people weren't coping, and I certainly wasn't coping by any stretch of the imagination. I'd stepped down from a job I'd been doing for a long time, and I was very, very happy with, but I couldn't analyze anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. Emotionally, I just didn't have it, and the fog really wasn't clearing. The grief was taking up so much of my emotions, I couldn't function. So I stepped down, took some time off from work. Also saw that some people had made it to a year. Some people had made it to 2 years. Some people had made it, somehow they had got through. And I started to see that maybe I could do that too, that I could make it, that I could find a way to breathe again. That it would never be the same as before Elizabeth left. But I could get there. I could start just to breathe, just to get back to functioning. And after reading and reading and reading, you get to where I started to comment, to give back. And I could say Elizabeth's name without breaking down in the middle of the day. And that's GRASP did that. Just being able to see that I wasn't the only one that had that guilt. I wasn't the only one that had the what ifs. Many, many times that what if I would have done this? What would have happened differently? And I learned that Elizabeth had choices to make too, and she made those choices. I provided opportunities, and I know there's 1,000 things I could have done and should have done and would have done differently. But I found my breath at least. I'm back to functioning some. It's good. Everything's working through okay. I'm getting there. I'm not over her passing, but I see I can maybe be able to get through and integrate her not being here as part of my life, another part of my chapters. GRASP helped me with that. I'm John Knight, and Elizabeth Michelle Knight is my daughter, and she's been in heaven for 2 years and 5 months now.
This is Gregory Scott Hanson Jr., my grandson. I'm Jane Brown, and I want to tell you a little bit about him. He has a heart of gold. He was caring. He loved his family. He always wanted to help do things for his family. He loved camping with us, and he loved hiking and sports. And he was a very hard worker. And he enjoyed life to the fullest. He was a teenager when he started with his addiction. And it was after he had had an accident and had knee surgery. And doctors prescribed him too many opiates. That's what started him on his path. And he was a very good boy, young man, I should say. And when he was found at J.C. Penney's in the Charleston Town Center, he was 26. And he passed November the 3rd, 2016. And GRASP has helped me to be able to communicate better, understand, and it gives you tools, information, people to contact if you need extra help. And it gives you a chance to talk to others that are in the same situation, which is very important. I enjoy going to the GRASP meetings because it helps me to vent, to talk about, remember good things. We always remember the good things. And I think it's important to help heal the family and everyone involved. Thank you for listening.
I'm here today to talk to you about my grandson, Joshua. I recently read a post online from a lady, and I asked her, it hit me as this could be about my Josh. I asked her if it was okay to use her words, and she said yes. And what it says is, the world has lost someone incredible, because underneath his addiction was a person, an incredible, wonderful spirit, full of hopes and dreams, passions and fears. Someone who had something to offer. He was so much more than the drugs he took. And I believe that is probably true for every one of our loved ones. Joshua is my grandson. He was good, smart, compassionate, goal-oriented, good student. He was an old soul. He became addicted to opioids at the end of his senior year in high school. And it was 8 years until he finally succumbed to that addiction when he was sold. And I want to say he was murdered by fentanyl. He did not use fentanyl. He seemed to be getting his life back. He had gotten a new job. He wanted to go back to college and had plans on that. And then for, I guess, stress or who knows what, he gave in to the demon one more time. And he lost his life. It will be 1 year tomorrow when I found him in his bedroom at the age of 26. And it's something that I will never get over. Never. What I want to say about GRASP is that I've attended my first GRASP meeting in December, I think. And it gave me a chance to share this grief with others. People that know exactly what I'm going through. People that allow me to sit and cry the entire meeting. They know, they understand that our children did not deserve to die. Josh did not deserve to die. He did not want to die. He would never have wanted me to find him the way I found him. I just want everyone to know that these people, these young people are worth so much more than the drugs. They mean so much more than those drugs that they take. And I want you all to keep the fight, keep fighting for them, and so they will know that we will never forget them. We will never stop fighting. We'll never stop loving you. I love you, Josh, more than anything in this world.
Hello, I'm Patricia, and I am talking to you today about GRASP, how it's helped me be able to cope with my son's loss, to be able to talk to someone, to tell your story about what happened, really helps. My son, this is William Seth Kirk. He was very loving. He was willing to help anybody in any type of situation. He loved playing guitar. He loved singing. He loved to write songs. He was very good at it too. We wanted to go on Americans Got Talent, but anyway, Seth started doing some drugs at a very young age. Started out with hydros and moved on to heroin. Heroin was his drug of choice in his 20s. Seth passed away at age 27 at 4 Points Sheridan Hotel in Charleston, West Virginia. He had been in recovery a couple of times. It's very hard when you lose a child, a son, a daughter, anyone. At that time you feel like you're the only one that is going through this, but you're not. I felt that way. Sometimes I still feel that way. I miss him terribly, but please reach out to someone and just talk to them and tell your story. Let your story be told. It does help. It truly does. Thank you.